Coming up on the second hour of American Sunrise, the not-so-friendly skies. The FAA announcing it would be cutting flights by 10% at 40 major airports across the country because of the government shutdown. How is it going to affect you? Well, we're going to have those details straight ahead. Plus, Gavin Newsom strikes back. California voters approve Prop 50, which allows Democrats to draw up a new congressional map in the Golden State, what it could mean for control of the U.S. House. And later, a tale of two Cheneys. We examine the legacy left behind by the late former Vice President Dick Cheney, who passed away on Tuesday. By the way, the legacy, well, it's complicated, to say the least. Those stories and more as the second hour of American Sunrise starts on a Thursday right now. Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from D.C., Shutdown, D.C. Let's bring in Dr. G in West Palm, T. Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning to both of you. So Marsha Blackburn clearly making news at the top of our show, saying it's going to be hours to end the shutdown, possibly days, hours or days. I mean, that's news. And, of course, the FAA stuff going on with the flights. I've got to fly tomorrow. Let's not bury the lead. It's all about me. And I got to fly tomorrow, Gina. Darn it.
You're going to be okay, David Brody. No, it is a concern. Right. Honestly, I think about the morale. I think about the psychology that Brian brought up. They're having problems at home. They can't pay their bills. I mean, this is a big deal. Here are the Democrats sitting there saying, in their complacency, right? This is all fine. This is all fine. That the government is shut down. So why not have the discussion right now, right here, right now? If this is all fine, let's privatize all this so these people are working for private companies so that politicians who continue to take their paychecks can't shut off the paychecks any longer of those who are federally employed. Let's have that conversation right now while the fire's hot.
Excuse me,
feel like
Gina. Terrence, can we just have a quick conversation? Gina, we knew she would bring up privatization of the FAA. You knew that was going to happen of TSA. I'm sorry, Gina, are you listening? But yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say, I hear applause at airports across the country right now as TSA workers are like, please, somebody pay me. Let's privatize this. So, guys, look, to that point, happening today, the Federal Aviation Administration is expected to announce which airports are going to see a 10% reduction in flights as a result of this ongoing government shutdown that we've been talking about. The flight cuts are set to go into effect tomorrow. Fewer flights at what the FAA calls high-volume markets are meant to keep the airspace at the country's busier airports safe as air traffic controllers and other airport officials continue to work through this government shutdown without getting paid. As a result, staffing issues is a concern, with experts predicting that thousands, we're talking up to 4,000 a day flights, will be canceled. If you plan to fly in the next couple of weeks, you're also warned to get to the airport a little earlier than normal, as lines in some places have been extraordinarily long. Now to an update on Tuesday's deadly UPS plane crash that has now claimed the lives of at least 12 people. Let's check out some of the new video that's coming into our newsroom. Officials warn that the death toll could climb. Coroners are working to identify the remains that have been found so far and say that the conditions of some of the victims' bodies may make that task that much more difficult. Meantime, new surveillance video shows the plane barreling through businesses at the end of the runway as its wing caught fire during takeoff. Look at that blaze. National Transportation Safety Board investigators are on site and have reportedly recovered the cargo plane's black boxes, which includes the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder. As the investigation and damage assessment continue, Louisville's Muhammad Ali International Airport says it has now reopened 2 of its 3 runways. Passenger flights to and from Louisville are back underway, albeit under a major backlog and delays. Newly elected New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani's election is already taking a big bite out of the Big Apple. Exhibit 1 is New York City Fire Commissioner Robert Tucker resigning on Wednesday, saying that he's concerned about Mamdani's anti-Israel hostility. Tucker is described as a proud Jewish philanthropist and a businessman. He's only been on the job about a year now and will officially step down December 19th. Responding to the news, the incoming mayor saying, quote, "I'm willing to consider anyone to work in my city hall so long as they are committed to working for my administration and to delivering on an agenda to lower costs for New Yorkers in the most expensive city in the United States." Stay tuned for more on that. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now let's get a quick check of your forecast. Meteorologist Tracy Anthony standing by. Tracy, in the break, we were talking about the Northern Lights. I'm looking forward to you schooling me on the Northern Lights, because when I think of the Northern Lights, I think of Iceland. That would be the one place to go see them, but they can be seen here in the United States?
Yeah, I've got a really cool photo at the end of these hometown forecasts. So let me get through a couple of these cities, and then you and I are going to chat about these Northern Lights. They're on my bucket list. I haven't seen them with my own eyes. But Jackson, Wyoming, you're dealing with some snow across the high country. Winter weather advisories in place throughout the day today. You clear out for the weekend. Atlanta, pretty calm, quiet, and warm. But those temperatures are going to cool down into next week, and overnight temperatures dropping to the 20s. We're going to be about 20 to 30 degrees below average into next week. The Twin Cities will feel that cool down as well, with some rain working through Saturday. They could even have their first snow of the season. So those are kind of a few of the spots across the country that have some active weather into the week. But this is Hennepin County, Minnesota. This is actually south of the Twin Cities. You can kind of see it off in the distance. So Terrence, think of this. This was taken with a drone, but you still have to get through the city lights, and it was still this visible. Now, I grew up right around Minneapolis, and I never have seen these, so I'm bummed. I missed out.
Huh. Okay, so Minnesota, that's a lot cheaper than Iceland to go see the Northern Lights, so I am all in. By the way, Minnesota is way too cold. I had a job interview once in Duluth, Minnesota. Yeah. The moment I got off the plane, I knew I couldn't hack it. It was way too cold. Anyway, another story for another day. Tracy, good to see you.
You too.
All right. And again, you see there at the bottom of your screen, go ahead and scan that QR code and join our friends over at Weather Nation. All right, let's get you over to David. David Brody, good morning.
Good morning, T. Bates. All right, we're going to get to the government shutdown in a moment, but we have some new developments on President Trump's crime crackdown this morning. Earlier this week, a trio of North Carolina lawmakers penned a letter to Democrat Governor Josh Stein to deploy the National Guard in Charlotte, saying violent crime in the city has become, quote, increasingly dire. Joining us now is one of the authors of that letter. That would be our good friend, North Carolina Congressman Mark Harris. Congressman, good morning to you. We will get to the government shutdown in just moments, but curious if you can tell us a little bit about what's happening in Charlotte and why the governor is refusing to send in the National Guard. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning, David. It's great to see you and to be with you all this morning. Yes, this is something that we feel like is a definite need. It all goes back, as you know, a whole lot of spotlight was placed on Charlotte when Irina Zarutska was murdered so savagely on the light rail. And in the midst of all of that, you know, Vice President Vance came to Cabarrus County, and he was asked a question about, would the National Guard consider coming into Charlotte? Would that be a decision that the administration would be interested in helping with? And in that process, the Fraternal Order of Police then came forth and said, we would welcome that help. The Fraternal Order of Police here in Charlotte have sent to the governor. They've cried out and said, we could use that help, because frankly, they are 270 plus officers down from what we should have policing the streets in Charlotte. And it's not a long-term fix, but it is a short-term deterrent, we believe, because crime is just out of control. In Uptown, we've seen an increase of 200% in murders just in the Uptown area in the last year.
And Charlotte has a brand new police chief, I think, just sworn in this week, so she will have a lot of work on her hands. Let's shift gears a little bit, though, and talk about this current government shutdown. In our last hour, we had Senator Marsha Blackburn on, who said that she believes that this government shutdown will end in a matter of hours, if not days. What is your inside betting? Oh, well, you're a pastor, so I won't go with the betting. What does your expertise tell you What does your expertise tell you about how long it might take, and what are you hearing in terms of this thing ending?
Well, obviously, we are on a 48-hour call to return to Washington in order to vote on whatever the Senate ends up sending back. Our hope, of course, is that they're going to come to their senses and they're going to pass the bill, the CR, that is sitting over there. We realize that it's got a November 21st date on it, but they can vote on that today and reopen the government within hours. And that would be very important. We would still be coming back, and we would want to immediately begin to move appropriation bills as quickly as we could. But that's the simplest way. And if it's a matter of hours, then my hope is that the Senate will just vote. They'll find those 5 other Democrats that will come across, bring cloture, and then they'll be able to vote to reopen the government. It's that simple. If they change the date, if they change anything in that CR, then we're going to have to get back to Washington, and we'll immediately vote on that as well. So it's just kind of a wait and see what the Senate finally ends up with in their action.
Congressman, before you go, Nancy Pelosi will not be seeking re-election next year. What will that mean for politics going forward? And more specifically, what impact will that have on the midterms?
Well, it's certainly welcome news to my ears that she's not going to be returning. But I think in the truth of the matter is, I think it shows again, it's hard to say this about Nancy Pelosi, but I think it's even more a shift to the left that the Democratic Party has taken. And that's been clear when you see a communist elected mayor of New York City, when you see the kind of things that have happened in our cities across this country. I really believe that she's recognized that even the party has left her now, shifting even further to the left. Whatever her reasons are, I'm not certain, but I think it's a welcomed news for all of us.
Yeah. I think he just said, don't let the door hit you. I'm pretty sure that's what I heard.
Well, Congressman, I guess we'll just say goodbye to Nancy Pelosi, have her enjoy Golden Corral. But my guess is she's probably never stepped inside a Golden Corral, but that's a separate issue. All right, Congressman, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
All right, sounds good. More American Sunrise after the break. Stay with us, everybody, on a very busy Thursday.